So today we're going to be comparing the new Sony WH-CH710Ns to the Sony WH-XB700s. Now, normally I wouldn't compare these two headphones together because the 710Ns are over-ear headphones, whereas the XB700s are on-ear headphones. So naturally, I would say just go with the over-ear headphones. But since Sony really likes to put both of these headphones on sale for ridiculous prices on major shopping holidays, I thought that we should still compare the two for the people who might be wondering what's the big difference between these two headphones. Now, the XB700s have a retail price of $130, but on Prime Day and other major shopping holidays, they went on sale for $78. Now, the WH-CH710Ns have a retail price of $200, but their predecessors, the Sony WH-700N, also used to retail for $200 when they first came out, but they would go on sale for $100 on Prime Day and during the holiday season. So I do expect the new 710Ns to get the same treatment as well. So if you want to pick either of these headphones up, they'll be linked down below. Now, first off, I do want to point out that neither of these headphones come included with a carrying case or even a pouch, which is a real shame specifically for the 710Ns because they're one of the few $200 ANC headphones out there that don't come included with any kind of case. And if you do plan on commuting a lot with either of these headphones or use them at the gym, I do advise that you invest in a hard shell carrying case. Even though these headphones do have decent build quality, they still feel a little delicate. Now, like I just said, both of these headphones have decent build quality. They're both using decent plastics, they both have stainless steel headbands that have a good click to them whenever you adjust them, and they both stay silent whenever you handle them, which was actually a very big problem for the outgoing 700Ns. Because these headphones like to crack and squeak a lot whenever you would flex them or even just handle them. But one area where the XB700s are noticeably better than the 710Ns build quality wise is when it comes to their leatherette. The leatherette on the XB700s feels much smoother than the leatherette found on the 710Ns. So for me, the 710Ns can get a little itchy sometimes. Now, when it comes to overall comfort, keep in mind, the XB700s are on-ear headphones, whereas the 710Ns are over-ear headphones. So the over-ear headphones are going to be inherently more comfortable. But even though the 710Ns are over-ear headphones, their ear cups are still a little shallow. So if you've got larger ears or ears that stick out a lot, then they might still press down on your ears a little bit. Even though my ears aren't all that big, the 710Ns still press down on my ears a little bit. Now, when it comes to the XB700s, even though they're on-ear headphones, they're still fairly comfortable because the padding on these ear pads is very soft, and these headphones have very little clamping force. So I can actually wear the XB700s for a long while. The XB700s aren't uncomfortable like some other on-ear headphones out there, like the Beats Solo Pro, whose padding is a little stiffer and they have significantly more clamping force, making them not big head approved. Whereas both of these Sony's headphones are big head approved. Both of these headphones fit fine, but the 710Ns are a little more comfortable than the XB700s. But if you need something with larger ear cups, then you might want to look into the Sony XB900N. Now, when it comes to tech specs, both of these headphones charge via a USB-C port, which is great, especially if you're an Android user. And both of these headphones do have pretty long battery lives. The XB700s have an advertised battery life of 30 hours, whereas the 710Ns have an advertised battery life of 35 hours with ANC turned on. And both of these headphones also have decent fast charging numbers. The 710Ns will actually get you an hour of playback time from a 10-minute charge from a dead battery, but the XB700s will actually get you an hour and a half of playback time from that same 10-minute charge. Now, when it comes to Bluetooth connectivity, Both of these headphones can only be connected to one device at a time. You can't easily hot swap from one device to another like you can with a lot of other headphones out there, which can definitely be pretty important for some power users out there. Now, when it comes to audio codecs, the XB700s have aptX and AAC support, whereas the 710Ns top out at AAC. But more importantly, when it comes to watching movies or videos on your phone, both of these headphones have zero latency whenever you're using apps like Netflix, Disney Plus, or HBO Now. And the XB700s have zero latency whenever you're watching YouTube videos on either an iPhone or an Android device, which is good. Whereas the 710Ns do have a slight latency to them whenever you watch YouTube videos on either device. Now, that latency is a little bit more prominent on an iPhone than on an Android device, and you can always get rid of that latency on an Android device by turning off AAC. But hopefully that issue does get fixed on the 710Ns through a software update in the future, because the XB700s used to have that issue as well, but not anymore. But I do want to quickly point out that both of these headphones still have an audio jack, so if you want to use a wired connection with either of these two headphones, you can do that. Now, I know this might sound obvious or basic, but I do want to point it out because some companies do remove the audio jack on some of their more entry-level headphones as a cost-saving measure. Specifically, Sony does that with the new Sony WH-CH710s. And I also want to point out that the USB-C port on both of these headphones are strictly used for charging. You can't use the USB-C port on either of these headphones as a wired connection, like you can with more premium options out there, like the Sennheiser Momentum 3s or the Bowers & Wilkins PX7. But now let's talk about listening to music with these headphones, because these headphones are very different from one another. First off, I gotta point out that the 710Ns no longer connect to Sony's headphones app like their predecessors do. So now you can't customize their sound. Whereas the XB700s do connect to Sony's app, but you can only raise or lower the bass on them. You can't change their mids or highs, which personally I think that's just stupid, because you can change the sound positioning or add these other effects to them to make them sound like you're in an arena or concert hall, which ultimately are just gimmicks that I never use, and I recommend that you don't even touch them. Now, the 710Ns have a bass-heavy sound signature to them, which personally I'm not a fan of because these headphones sound a little shallow, because it's very hard to hear the mids and vocals on these headphones. These are a pair of headphones that you gotta raise their volume all the way up, or else their bass is just going to overpower everything else. And even though these headphones have a bass-heavy EQ, they aren't going to physically rattle your head all that much. The bass on these headphones is mostly audible. If you like headphones with a bass-heavy EQ, then these might do, but if you prefer a neutral sound signature or clarity, then these aren't the headphones for you. But then, there's the XB700s. Now, these headphones are a part of Sony's extra bass headphone lineup, hence the XB in their name. If you want to increase the bass on these headphones, you can do that through their app that I mentioned earlier. But even though these are extra bass headphones, their bass still isn't going to physically rattle your head all that much like the bass on the XB900N does. But nonetheless, I do prefer how the XB700s sound over the 710Ns, because even though these headphones have a lot of bass to them, their mids and highs are much more pronounced than the 710Ns. So the XB700s don't sound as shallow as the 710Ns, and you can actually hear the vocals and instrumentals with these headphones. My only critique about the XB700s is that their highs might be a little too bright sometimes, and Sony is obviously doing that to compensate for the extra bass on the XB700s. But yeah, here, I actually prefer the XB700s over the 710Ns when it comes to sound. Now, besides the 710Ns being a pair of over-ear headphones, another major difference between these two headphones is that these headphones have active noise cancellation, whereas the XB700s don't. Now, even though I'm not the biggest fan of how these headphones sound, I can't deny that these headphones have very impressive active noise cancellation for a pair of $200 entry-level ANC headphones. But so that you can see for yourself, we're going to jump into an ANC test. So, like you may have just seen, the 710Ns block out quite a good amount of noise for a pair of $200 entry-level ANC headphones. But they don't block out nearly as much noise as the 1000 XM3s, which is to be expected, but I included them in this ANC test to taper expectations. Nonetheless, the ANC on the 710Ns is useful for like when you're on a bus, in a chatty office, or in a mess hall. And overall, the ANC on these headphones is decent because they don't have any hissing in the background, and more importantly, they don't have any cabin pressure. So the ANC on these headphones shouldn't give you headaches like with some other cheaper or older ANC headphones out there. And also, the 710Ns have an ambient mode where these headphones will pump in some of the ambient sound around you, so that you can still be aware of your surroundings when you're walking around the city, or if you're watching Disney Plus at home, you can still hear when someone calls your name. Just keep in mind that you can't customize how much sound these headphones let in like you can with their more premium counterparts. And again, the ambient mode on these headphones is very good because they have zero hissing in the background, it sounds natural, and they also do a really good job of blocking out wind noise when you're walking outdoors. And finally, here's the microphone test, and this has always been one of Sony's weak points. Specifically, the microphone on the XB700s does sound a little shallow and a little muffled. Whereas the 710Ns have a lot more amplification to them, but they still sound pretty shallow. Overall, Sony really needs to make some major changes when it comes to the microphones on all of their headphones. So, with all that being said, both of these headphones are still very decent. But the better value here are the WH-710Ns, because they have very impressive active noise cancellation for a pair of $200 entry-level ANC headphones, and they also have an ambient mode. They're also over-ear headphones, so they're going to be a little bit more comfortable than the XB700s, but for me, personally, I'm just not a fan of how they sound, and their leatherette could be better. And then there's the XB700s, which are very good for on-ear headphones in general. And if you like a little bit more bass in your music, or if you're just looking for a pair of cheap headphones to rough up at the gym while you work out, these are a good option as well. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit that like button and get subscribed. It helps out more than you realize. If you want to pick any of the products up mentioned in this video, those will be linked in the description down below, and you can also support the channel by checking out the merch store. But other than that, I'll catch you next time.